Good morning and welcome back. This is Tuxedo Ian. We are getting back into our playthrough of Book of Hours. This will be part 67 of our series. And when we left off, we had completed getting a whole bunch more skills. We managed to apply most of the lessons that we've learned. We've got a crap ton of sand laying outside the house. We'll have to find a use for that somewhere. But for now, let's dive in and see what we can get done. Hush House endures. Everything is remembered. So we did complete our incident. So let's go to our skill web and see. So we have the unfinished lark. What secrets enabled Zuthi Zidane's masterwork? We can ask Azita, we can ask Morgan, or we can ask Serena for help with that. We'll have to choose which one of those we want to help. And then for the forgivable debt, we can use Aaron to democratize the wangle. We can have Azita profit from the wangle, or Connie can shut down the wangle. So we'll have to decide on one of those. So since we have Azita, it can do both of those. We'll probably want to choose somebody else for one of those if we choose her for the other. And we've got a decent amount of skills in our skill web. We probably could go farther right now. We do have quite a few that are unassigned right now, but we don't really need... We're doing just fine with the skill threads we have at the moment, or in the skill cards we have. So, let's see what we have. We have some memories that are cooking to use up our Edict's Liminal. So we'll get that started. And then we have a sealed cell where we need forge or knock. And then we have this one we need not edge or knock. Then over here we have the sagging dock. We need rose or moon. So we have this forbidden epic we can use, or the invincible audacity. We could use either one of those. So let's go with the forbidden epic and let's see if we can get... we should be able to get to 13 edge with Denzel Smith. So we'll use one of our health to go talk to him. Denzel will talk about practical matters, though he prefers to sit in silence. A shilling will buy his help for a day. We can use, we actually have a shilling sitting here. What do you need? So first off, we will talk to him with metal to give him action. So that will give him, well, instead of that, we'll give him the forbidden epic, which will get him to 8. And then we have that serpent milk that we made. If I can find where we put it. It's up here. Yes, there it is. So we'll grab that. So that will get him to 14, which will be just enough to open up that area. So we made some Ichor Auroral with Keeper level rose. The Ichor Auroral is a precursor to the Great Ink Porphyrin. So we'll set that on the window ledge for the moment. Because we did have a discovery we could use as to another way we can make porphyrin. We can use edicts. We can use auroral contemplation. And that. And a Faust. And if we can get... Let's see, we need one more point of lantern. So we can add the Fascinated Faust. And we can deepen the Ichor into the Encostum Terminal Porphyrin. So 15 lantern instead of 15 rose. Definitely a nice little touch there. So we'll go ahead and do that. Just to have more porphyrin. And I finally found out where we can use this Ichor Vitreous to make Ashatitan. For this, we need hieroglyphics. Yeah, we already figured that. So we need 15 lantern makes hieroglyphics with that. So we'll come back to that in a little while once we have a few more points of lantern for something. We could add the sea glass, which gives us 1 point. And what can we do with that perenculate? We might have something we can do with it, because we have this 16-point edge book. But as soon as this is finished, we can start reading. Memories don't last as long outside books, but it's made a difference for the day. And we'll give him the serpent milk. I can offer my assistant something to drink. It does look almost like milk, and it is drinkable, but don't give it to cats or to babies. And this will give him the 14 edge he needs to open up this room, the trapped cell. Do not enter while security measures are armed. So let's see, what all do we have sitting out here in we have a viper egg, a shell, some quartz, a bunch of sand. So let's actually go beachcombing. Alright, so that's 1 memory, 2 memory, 3 memories. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 makes enough memories to upgrade Edict's Liminal to the next level. Thanks to the clouds. At last, I approach mastery. Improve this skill to level 8. Okay, let's see if we can read this. The sevenfold slaying of the seven coiled. An account of the destruction of a primeval hour, a god who was stone. So we'll add an Arab for some edge. We'll add... Let's see, what other edge skills do we have here? We have Edict's Martial. Gets us to 9. And we can add the Perenculate, which gets us to 13. So that's not quite enough. So instead we can use our Millicent. That gets us to 16. And then we need to add Fusine. I can master this mystery. Enough edge to match mystery edge. We could also just have used the... Actually, we don't need to use the Millicent. We can use that, and we can use the Invincible Audacity to master this mystery. Sure, it's overkill, but what else are we going to use the Invincible Audacity for? Might as well use it for reading a hard book. And we can always make another one if we need to. Iotic Essence, red as sunset. In the latter operations of the forge, the madrigad yields to the true Forge of Days, and the essence begins to redden. The bit about the true Forge of Days nearly got Saint Melanth burned for heresy, but no one ever said she was wrong about the second part. So let's see if we add that. And let's see, what forge items do we have here? We have that. Then we'll add metal. Okay, so that one doesn't make things. So we add metal to door and wall. It makes something, probably orichalcum. Then it does something else at level 15 that we don't know yet. So other forge skills we have. Anbarian Lapidary. Makes Iotic Essence, and we need one more point to get to Orpiment. But that's fine. We have Spices and Savors. Makes Iotic Essence. Bells and Brasseries. Makes Orichalcum Wire. We need 2 more points to get... Okay, so it does not make OE. We'll just go ahead and make that into some Orpiment Exultant. Down to the Grushians. So we can come back over here and have him open up this cell. So let's see. We do have some days left in this season, so we can prepare for another feast here. So we have the stargazy pie, so we can hold off on the roast beef for later. We'll put it up here in the other dining room for saving. We also have the game pie and marinated roast beef there. So the roast beef and marinated roast beef are similar, but not quite the same rhyme. Must be two verses from the same place. So let's see. So we have a first course, we have a main course, we have a pudding, we have a side dish, and we have another pudding here, so that covers everybody. So we can do lantern, edge, forge, heart, winter, nectar, moon, and rose. So we basically can cover every one of our visitors. So let's get to writing some invitations, shall we? First off, we know we're going to want to invite Dr. Peel back again. So we'll use him, and we have our typewriter up here on the and then we'll add our address book, and then we need moon. So we'll add edicts inviolable, and we'll request Dr. Peel's presence. Let's see who else we can get here. We want maybe Esan likes moon food, but sky drink. So, okay, so we can invite Esan, but we haven't had him around for anything yet. Now I just need to post it. So we'll invite Esan. And we'll invite Yvette as well, because we haven't seen her around before in a salon, I don't think. MDX Liminal is now level 8. The precepts of limitation and division established by the enigmatic conclave of ours, sometimes called the Chancel. Okay, so for Dr. Peel, we need moon drink, so we can get that with some water. So we'll draw some up from the well. We already have a half pitcher here, so we'll go ahead and pour that out as well, just so it takes up less room on the table. Okay, so there's water. So that's Dr. Peel. So we need sky drink now. So let's find something with sky aspect. Actually, for this one, what we can do is we have a packet of tea here. So we can make a packet of second flush Assam. And then I'll show you what we can do with that agave that we harvested earlier. So we use some shap to brew this over the fire. Okay, so there's our invitation to Esan. So we need sky drink for him. Yep, which we'll get fairly shortly. And I know one thing we can definitely do to start that. We can make some more blue crown tea. That will have sky. Alright, next invite. Let's see here. We want to bring one of the hunters. So let's we haven't had Arthur around before, so we'll invite him. And he likes lantern food and drink. So we'll have to find something with lantern for him to drink. Because we have lantern food. Ah, the coffee. Yes, and the second flush Assam also does lantern, so we'll pop that on the table. And that will be his drink. And that's only a half pot, so that's fine. So Esan wants sky drink, so we're making a pot of the tea for him. A pot of Blue Crown tea. Alright, we could invite a Limp. We've had her around before. She likes forge food and drink, but I think we'll go for somebody else. So let's see. We have... We can call Serena. We could call Morgan. So we need seven. There we go. We can invite Morgan back. She likes sky food and drink. So let's see. Do we have something here as far as sky goes for food? No, we do not. So we will not invite Morgan because we would have to pick something else. Do we have anything for sky up here? We could use the game pie. That would work. So let's trade out the game pie for the starry gazy pie. We can use that on a future salon. So that will allow us to invite Morgan. And she'll have the Blue Crown tea, so we just need another glass of water for her, which we've got coming from the well. So let's see, who else do we have that we could invite? Well, we could always be ornery. We're making some more OE, so instead of the typewriter, we can use some orpiment to invite Hokebald. And Hokebald likes forge food and drink. So we have forge food, we just need forge drink, which will be one of our wines or whiskeys down here. Yes, our Roskragan whiskey is forge. Poured out. So there's Magister Hokebald's drink. And we have one more invite we can send. Oh, he is number 5. So we just need to finish getting our drinks. And we have a new room. The cell long. The few long at Brankrug were kept in cells triple buttressed with silver and steel and sanctioned spells. The Bureau knew their weaknesses, but never relied upon them. This cell last housed 2 immortals, an edge-long dyad. This would have required not only ferocious and eternal vigilance, but also frequent replacement of shattered furniture. So we have a guest bed, long cell, a bunk bed constructed for 2 immortals who could neither be together nor apart. So we can park somebody with edge interests there, and it has scale, lantern, edge, and heart. We have cudgels, Digdu and Saint Trog, very old iron cudgels, recently and heavily padded. Wasters, Darling Deer and Father Turk. Wooden swords of recent manufacture, never used. Boken, Captain Torg and Mistress Deerday, souvenirs from the east, heavily padded. Oh, those have nice edge and sky, edge, forge and sky. We also apparently were growing mushrooms in their cell, and we have 2 uncatalogued books to look at. So we'll go ahead and catalog those using our desks. So we have this one we can do with the Tryst. This book was probably written around the time of Hush House's nocturnal period, or any time since the beginning of the turn of the century. And then we have this one, which we can read over here, which we can catalog over here. It is from the Curia period, the 1700s to 1800s. Anything else in there? Doesn't look like it. And there is a design of edge here on the wall, I guess because they were edge long. They either scratched that themselves or it was put there. A sealed cell, 12 forge or 12 knock. So let's see, what do we have that we could make? Because we have 2 from... So we could get 2 from Denzel and 5 from a Newman. So that would be 7. Where would we find the other 5 points we need? Something to consider. The other option is, of course, to just give him some Gervanite and then a Chronos cord, which would be more than enough. Or we could use the Reverend and give him the Chronos cord and a Newman, which should be enough. So let's make ourselves a Chronos cord here. And there's our Chronos cord. Steam and scent both rise. It's ready. Second flush Assam, a pot. Tea from the land of the real unicorn, imported by Cater and Hero. And now what we can do, we can come down to our kitchen down here. We can add the tea. We can add our Arab there. And we can add one of these things of agave that we harvested before. And deep sweeten Assam, a hot drink with knock, lantern, winter, and nectar. So that will give us another lantern drink and something with knock on it. So let's see, we're going to need a knock Newman. So let's find one. There we go. Inescapable confinement works. Written in Arapaean. We use our shaft for that. I've mastered this, but I could read it and recall a memory. This is an Encostum terminal. So there's another porphyrin for us. Getting a quite nice little collection of Encostum there. And we never did need to use this Sacrament Calcite, but it's there if we need it for an additional 6 points of Grail for something. Like maybe trying to read 1,000 threads and hoping it gives us an item, but you know, we don't really need that. Alright. And the day ticks on. Now we found a driftwood fragment. Long ago there was a forest between the reefs of Brancraig Bay. This driftwood is not nearly that old, but it shared salt with some of its lost forerunners. Let's see if we can find some more pilchards while we're out here. And the wood we can send up here to our workbench and just have it sit there. We could use the workbench to do something with the wood, I think. Turn it into scraps. Or maybe craft something with it, but for now it's good it can just sit here on the shelf. Irreparably wobbly. Perhaps it's haunted. We do have a crate of supplies that we never investigated, so let's find out what's in there. Something handy. Crack open the container. Delight in your discovery. So there's our Blue Crown tea. So we'll just pour out a cup of that. Poured out. Ah, and there's our final volume of The Locksmith's Dream, A Light Through the Keyhole, the first volume of Teresa Gomer's examination of parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans. And it gives us purifications and exaltations. Now that's one we don't have yet. So we can actually start reading that here, because this is a lantern desk and it only needs lantern 4. So we can just use Sacra Solus Invicti for that and master this mystery. And the other one, The Devoured Tantra. The diplomat priest Stanislav John Schaller transcribed this from the library of a Red Long, but his manuscript remains in a private collection in Karasham. 6th Grail in Sanskrit, and it gives us more about Applebright euphonies. Oh, how nice. We could get that up above 5. Get one more lesson for it. And then we have our Blue Crown tea. Got sent, the cup of it got sent over here. So we'll send that over here to our table. And then we can just use anything for the 5th drink because we already have drinks for everybody. So we'll just grab this glass that we've already got poured and put it on the table. Covers lantern anyway, so. Alright, so that's something for everybody and everybody for something. So tomorrow we can send out our invitations and start this thing off with a bang and see what lessons we can learn this season. And since we have a free Fost, we'll come over here and we'll make ourselves another Wind in Waiting. And let's see, if we want to make another Forbidden Epic, we're going to need another Confounding Parable. Seventh Voice, my sweet, we read you one more time. I wonder how many times we've read that book over the course of this game. And then we'll need something else with Edge, or what was it that Edicts Marshall needed? Okay. So I have mastered this book and gained the lessons it contained. An account of the destruction of a primeval hour, a god who was stone. There are 12 verses. In the first, an ascendant hour, identified as the Scarred One, enumerates his justifications for destroying the Seven-Coiled, its appetites, its growth, its enmity to humanity. In the second, a priestess puts out his eyes and scars his skin to protect him against the Seven-Coiled's magics. In each of the next 7 verses, he destroys one aspect of the Seven-Coiled. In the 10th verse, the Scarred One bathes his priestess patron in the blood of the Seven-Coiled to lend her power. In the 11th, they assault the temple behind the world, entering it by force. In the 12th, they swear a tripartite oath to protect their ancestors, their descendants, and themselves. So that's telling the story of the rise of the Colonel and the Mother of Anth, and how they slew one of the primordial gods. So we get Memory Fear out of that, and lessons in Disciplines of the Scar. So we'll mark that with Memory Fear. And move it to our to our red collection. Up here in Christopher's Nook. Move this candle out of the way here. Still need to do something with this wolf snow ampule. We have a couple of those laying around. We have a Sacrament Asite there in case we need it. So actually, the Sacrament Asite's going to be enough to, with the Chronos Cord to open up that room. So, let's see here. So now we have that. Disciplines of the Scar is at level 7. Would need Edge or Lantern. So, we can work on that tomorrow after the party. Or before the party, rather. But until then, we do have a crafting. We do want to do some crafting. So we're almost done down here. Little water splashes on the stones of the well to nourish the mosses there. Bloop. Move this egg so it's not sitting on the edge of the counter there. I know it's not going to fall off, but it's still. We can put our meringue over there, though. Or our creamed sugar, rather. So we have some dough. So we can mix that with an egg. And the kitchen bowls. And we can make cake batter, an ingredient for a higher purpose. So there's our replacement bottle of Orpiment for the one that we used to write to Hokobald. See, geese. So this is also, we could use this for Dr. Peel because it has moon. It also has grail and nectar. We need to put this oozult up here with the rest of our costumes. It's deep sweetened Assam, sweetened with agave syrup and deep history. A hot drink with edge, knock, lantern, nectar, and winter. And the other thing we can do, we do have another type of tea around here somewhere. So that was the second flush of Assam. And I'm pretty sure we had another type of packet, so let's look for something brewable. The hot chocolate, the coffee. I know there's another kind of tea that we can make because we have that Assam. We have another type of deep sweetened drink we can make. And we can worry about that later. And we have our Strathcone whiskey here, which has scale and nectar on it. In case we ever want to invite Strathcone, we can just basically serve him his own whiskey. We were going to use our Edicts Martial to make... We need the confounding parable for that first, though. Which is almost done. Alright, so there's our inescapable confinement Newman. We may or may not need that. But it gives us some aspects for stuff. Now we found some turpentine, an odorous eraser of errors. Not sure where we'll put that. Grab this Blue Crown tea and put it in the kitchen or in the pantry for now. And the turpentine, we can put this up in the alchemy lab for now because that's where it probably needs to go. Winter and forge. It's also fuel and a liquid. So that one gives resurgences and emergences. Which is at 7, so that would max it out. That one also gives resurgences and emergences. This one gives Tradesmachera, which we have at level 4. That's probably the best one for now. Weaving and not working, 4, and that would give us either 2 or 3 lessons. This one gives us 1 more for Applebright Euphony, so let's actually read that one. That way we don't have extraneous lessons clogging up our... So Arab, and whoop, not that one. Great Science and Great Scars. We'll finish that up. Alright. So we need moon crafting for this. So we can try at the Sunset Harp here. And we can use Edicts Martial and a Confounding Parable. And then we need moon, so we need Trist. Yeah, because we need 15 moon to get there. So we need 4 more points of moon from something. So we'll have to wait for another day for that. We can hold on to the confounding parable, though. Now we found some vase of rushes, a subtle ornament. And it's a leaf, so we can use that to make perunculate. So we'll stick that on our shelf for now. Make some room here by moving stuff around. We've made cake batter. Add something sweet like jam, or add almonds and spices. So let's examine what we can do with that. So if we add spices and almonds, we make a Madeira cake. Moth, lantern, heart, and grail. If instead we add maybe plums. Nope, that doesn't do anything. So maybe our blackberry jam here. Make a blackberry jam sponge cake. Nectar and rose. Okay, elderflower cordial doesn't do anything. Rosehip jam makes a rosehip sponge cake with heart and rose. Maybe if we add these blackberries. Nope. And maybe spicing. Nope, that doesn't do anything. I bet we could make the blackberries into jam, though. Trick is how. Maybe with some sugar? Yes, so that's how we make blackberry jam. Okay, so we'll put those back where they go. And let's see, we can do some ham and potato bake to have a side dish for our next season. So there's our Cronus cord completed. And while we're at it, we can go ahead and make another amethyst ampoule here. Nothing else there at the doorstep that we need. So there's Teresa's book finished, the first volume of Teresa Gallmer's examination of parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans. The parallels in mystic dreams experienced by carpenters, masons, and other artisans, and what they purport to reveal about the architecture of the world. Surprisingly mordant and even funny. No one has ever explained why Gallmer devoted herself to this quixotic exploration of the artisan's dreams. Time and again we hear of the wood which rises from the world's foundation. All trees reach for light. What does the wood reach for? Is there a difference between light and light? I think the key to dreams of the wood might be one of these, the one that isn't exactly real. So we got a lesson in purifications and exaltation, or purifications and exaltations, and a memory of revelation. So we'll mark that with revelation. And we then can come over here and put this and finish up our shelf with all 5 volumes of her work, even the one that supposedly was never written. So that's 4 complete series we have now. Or 5, actually. We have the Orchid Transfigurations, we have Locksmith's Dream, we have DeHorace, Traveling at Night, we have the 2 Jade Tablets, and we have all of the Ordo Lime books. Plus we have all 3 versions of the 3 and the 3, so we've got quite a bit. Plus we have all of the Geminiads. We've got quite a collection going on here. And almost all of the Newman books we have been able to read. We just need to find someone who can teach us Hyksos so we can read a child's treasury of golden afternoons. Hopefully somebody that can speak Hyksos shows up sooner or later. So for now, let's learn purifications and exaltations. Use this lesson to acquire a new skill. And it's lantern, so we could actually use some of these disciplines of the scar to open it, because we don't really need to go, because we'll only need 2 of those to max out disciplines of the scar. So there's our wind and waiting. We've made a ham and potato bake. Filling and tasty, and it's a main course. Okay, so that's actually a nice little cheap main course for us for a future salon. Let's see, where can we put this? We'll move these drippings. There we go. And there is our amethyst ampoule, which we can then straight up elevate into Gervanite. All right. So our day is almost done. Let's see, we can keep the confounding parable. No, we cannot. We can keep the memory fear, though. We'll hold on to that. So, disciplines of the scar, we need 7 memories with edge or lantern. Well, we have fear, so that's 1. So we'll reread Locksmith's Dream to get another revelation. That's 2. We have Ascendant Harmony, that's 3. We have edge or lantern. Foresight gives us another, so that's so 1, 2, 3. We can do contradiction. Gets us 4. We can come over here and make Disciplines of the Scar is one we need. We can make a Tor's Cleansing. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 6. We need 1 more. Lantern or edge? Lantern or edge? I know we have 1 more lantern here. Oh, we do. We have Musgrave Secrets. So that gives us the 7 lantern that we need to upgrade Disciplines of the Scar to level 8. And we have acquired Purifications and Exaltations. No one ever truly wants to be truly changed. Azoth and Refulgen are justly feared, but no one who has been changed would choose to go back. George Collars. Lantern and Sky, and it's a illumination or ithistry, and it's effective against corruptions. So we know we have an extra lesson here, so we might as well use this memory revelation we have so we don't lose it. And we can use, let's see, we need something with edge, or we need something with lantern or sky. That's a problem because we don't have a soul fragment with lantern or sky available. Oh well, oh yes we do, we have Whist. Whist has lantern on it, I keep forgetting that. So that will upgrade that to level 2 and leave us 2 lessons to use for Disciplines of the Scar. We've read the Devoured Tantra. The Devoured Tantra warns of the uses and dangers of appetite, but devotes an entire passage to the star-limbed hunger bringers, who describes it with obvious affection. A million blazing fires in the belly engulf what has been swallowed by the multiform mouths. Confounding parable and apple-bright euphonies. Just one lesson of that, but that's fine. So we can add and mark this book and put it up onto our red shelves. All right. So that's just about all for the day. There go our memories. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go and get the Reverend Timothy. And we can use Shapt to get his attention. And we'll give him some money. Yeah, we do appreciate the contribution. Ah, and there's some sun, lantern, and sky, so that actually fits what we need. Alright, so Purifications and Exaltations is now level 2. Its power aspects have also been increased. And we have an offer from Oriflammes. A tower falls. The phonograph is packaged with a glossy amethyst purple card with the words, "A tower falls," in 9 languages on both sides. There is no other identifying information at all. Well, this will give us 3 more lessons in preliminal meter, which we've already maxed out. Or we have 1 more level to max it out, so we might as well get that so we can use it for other things. Oriflammes, thanks you for your custom. 16 knock, but we know Vac already gives us 2 points of knock, and we have door and wall at 10, so we only need to find 4 points of knock to read that. I think that's eminently doable. So, we have Reverend Timothy's help. We will give him that bottle of Sacrament Asite that we have up here. That will get him to 7, and we only need to get him to 12, so we can give him the Chronos Cord. Actually, we only need to get him to 12, so we don't even need to use the Chronos Cord. We can just use our Newman that we have here, Inescapable Confinement. Which, you know, using Inescapable Confinement to open a cell, that sort of logistically fits and thematically fits, I think. Okay, now we're just waiting, and now we can go and start sending our invitations while we wait for those things to finish up. So we'll invite Arthur Moore. Stamp envelope, send. Hassan. And while we're thinking about it, we need to rest our Whist and our Shapt just in case those get asked for. So we can use... it is spring, and the landlady has served me a slice of her starry gazy pie, with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. And we got our memories done, so we'll grab those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll get started on upgrading Disciplines of the Scar. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we actually didn't need 1 because we got Sunny, but we didn't know that. So then we can use the Tryst and upgrade this. At last I approach Mastery at level 8. And then the other Shapt fragments, we need to rest those. So we can rest a Shapt fragment here with something to drink. So we have a half pitcher of water somewhere, or a half pitcher of tea, or anything that would give us. So what we'll do, we'll pour out. We have plenty of liquor over here we can use. Oh, we have this dandelion wine. We can use that. That works. It's a restorative. Shapt, Dandelion wine, rest. A quick nap in a warm bed with something comforting to drink while the winds chase the clouds and the clouds chase the sun. So that'll be a minute and a half for that. So let's go back to sending our invitations out. So invite Magister Huckabald. Invite Madame Morgan. Alright, so Timothy is done there. So we can give him the inescapable confinement, which will be just enough to get him to 12. And finally, Dr. Peel. Alright, so now we just need to wait for everybody to arrive. And while we are waiting, I am going to take a short pause. I need to step away from the computer for a second. I will be right back. Alright, and with that, we are back. So let's get ready for our Salon here. And Reverend Timothy is going to open up that last cell for us. Alright, so there's our Gervanite back again. So let's see, Librarian Library did have something that could do with metal. Didn't. Yep, it makes iotic essence. And then something else at level 10 for some, or for 15 for some unknown. I think it can use bitter black salts to make something. But we'll fiddle with that later. We have Disciplines of the Scar is at level 8 now, so we have 9 Edge and 8 Lantern. Makes it even easier to just use any memory with that, and now we can go straight to making a winning move, rather than having to futz around with Torg's cleansings. So Applebright Euphonies, we would need 5 memories for that, it looks like. Yes, so Sky or Grail, that's easily enough done. Especially since we have all these maladied ones. So, Grail. Sky. Sky. Grail and Sky. And one more up here. Sky. So that will get us Applebright Euphonies to the next level. Memories don't last as long outside books, but it's made a difference for the day. So we'll send him to open up this cell over here. A sign outside this cell reads, "Warning, do not insert keys without first invoking adequate authorization. The key is in the staff room, but I shouldn't turn it without invoking powers to provide a reasonable facsimile of authorization." Did Arthur Moore receive my invitation? Essan is here. Huckabald is here. Morgan is here. And Peel is here. We're done resting our Whist, so we'll rest our Shaft now. Just in case we need it. And I remembered what the other tea that we can get was, because it's all the way up here. We have a pot of it already made, the Lapsang Souchong. So we can actually take that and come down here to our kitchen down here and use our Tryst, because it takes edge there. And use our other bunch of agave to turn this into deep sweetened lapsang with forge, lantern, nectar, sky, and winter. So it adds forge and lantern to the, or no, it has forge, it adds lantern and nectar to this, as well as winter. And it is now midday, so our guests are ready for lunch. My guests take their places for lunch. I deserved a little quiet time. Alright, so there's our 5 memories. We'll just grab those real quick. And start Applebright Euphony's upgrading. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we doubled up on something. We can use our Wind and Waiting. Good thing we had it. So we need Grail or Sky. Now we use... We'll hold off on that until we know what our... actually, we can use one of our Faust, because somehow I don't think we're going to be needing Faust in this salon, but if we need one, we can always go grab one from the skill tree. Alright, so while they're discussing, we can go and we can look over here. Sell Adepts. 77 days in the Curcubit was considered enough to soften the passions of the most unrepentant adept. After that, they were usually charged and tried in closed court, very occasionally released, sometimes taken upstairs for one of Collar's experimental interviews. We have a adept cell, a bed stamped with sigils to discourage access to the Mansus in Dream. Scale, Lantern, Winter, or Heart if we need to heal anything, and it will keep Scale visitors happy. Alice si licet, tibi non licet. To us it is permitted, to you it is not permitted. The motto of the Suppression Bureau. And we have 2 more books, and 2 more nocturnal books, and a Curia book. We have some paper, a portrait of Julian Costley. Julian is known to be winterlong. At a prescribed date, his hour patron will ensure him a beautiful ending. But until then, he is even harder than most long to dispose of, finally. That said, he is known to have been defeated by an Ascendant Long in the 1920s, and his true current status, a diminished survivor, a determined memory, something else, is the subject of esoteric debate, which explains why he only comes around during Numa. We also have a silent typewriter, an unusual custom device with winter aspect. And we have another bottled candle. So let's head back over. We'll catalog those books later and see what's in them. For now, let's keep our attention on here. Invite a challenge. Add a metal card. Serious discussions. Morgan smilingly entreats author to speak to her of the flaw in the glass, the menace that Omar the Blaze identified in the enclosure of a sacred flame at the Labyrinth of Lions. She is at her most charming, and even Arthur, not a man one might expect to be susceptible to Morgan's charms, unbends enough to drop a few hints. Glazery and lightsmithing. Spice up the conversation with an Arab. And Applebright Euphonies is now level 6. Morgan and Ehsan discuss the motives of the Aviform Hours. Ehsan is firm in his belief that they are fundamentally benevolent to mortals. Morgan says smilingly, "Perhaps then you know the twins better than do I." Strings and songs. Well, that's nice for us. We can get another level of strings and songs, and that will take it up to level 8. Make it even easier for us to make Wind and Waiting. Invite a challenge. Add another metal card. And we finished making this deep sweetened lapsang. So we'll set this on the shelf here. And what else do we have? Our shaft is better now. And we might as well rest that fast. Well, by the time it finishes, we wouldn't have enough time to do anything with it, so... As the salon will be done by then. We have our book from Oriflamme's, or phonograph record at this point. Must be a companion to A Tower Rises. Ehsan gives Aaron practical advice on the preservation and protection of those parts of Aaron that are no longer protected and preserved by skin, stitching, and binding. Well, then. Ask about dreams. Add a fet card. Aaron and Hokebald are debating the truth of a rumor about Winterlong, that they cannot sire or birth children, and so can safely lie together without fear of the crime of the sky. Hokebald insists that even were that true, the fruitfulness of Graillong, or the vigor of Forgelong, would still allow conception, desires, and dissolutions. Well, we already have that at level 3, so that's helpful. Exalted debates, so that's going to need a Fost card. A more sober tone. Morgan and Aaron discuss the secluded order of Long known as the Obliviates, the triple oath they take, and their sanctuary on the island of Noon, which Morgan speaks of fondly. Sacralime. How does Morgan know about them? Lively chatters. This is going to be a core card. Add a little gaiety. Hokebald and Ehsan discuss the origin of the Amaranis Beteli, the inscribed stone of secrets which fell from the sky, perhaps before the departure of the cross. Ehsan believes the inscriptions were the work of Ys, after the meteorite struck the sea. Hokebald insists they were a gleam gift from a star, and also insists that Ehsan is a pug-faced lion fumet when Ehsan descends. Bells and brasseries. So, that actually... We actually do have that. I wonder what would happen if we were to show the Amaranis Beteli to either one of them. Know that it's not just a legendary thing, we actually have it here. A lively meal concludes. My guests leave happy. I've gained an additional potent memory. So we got Glazer and Lightsmithing, Strings and Songs, Stitching and Binding, Desires and Dissolutions, Sacred Lime, and Bells and Brasseries, along with a Curious Hunch and a Memory of Satisfaction. So we still have another minute or so, so let's see if there's anything we can use those for before the night concludes. We have Strings and Songs, Heart and Sky. We already have Heart there. Or we have... Desires and Dissolutions, that's Grails. We could actually do that one. Or Stitching and Binding. So Stitching and Binding is only at level 2, so that would be a quick one. But let's see what we can do. We have Bells and Brasseries at level 5. Desires and Dissolutions is at level 3. Let's do that one. So we have 1 Grail memory. We need 2 more. We can do that one. And we can do Grail or Moon. We can do Book of the Centipede. And then we can also do, while we're thinking about it, so Stitching and Binding needs Heart and Sky. So we can actually get those ones because we still have more than a minute left. So we can do Confounding Parable. And we can do this one over here. Get that done. So that will give us 2 more upgraded. Yeah, we're not going to make it, I don't think. We'll have to choose which one of those we want to upgrade. We'll do the one that takes more memories, since the satisfaction So do desires and dissolutions. Okay, so we can at least save the Savage Hymn for tomorrow, so we don't have to repeat reading that one again. And we'll go ahead and read Seventh Voice again, just to get that confounding parable back. The stitching and binding needs Sky, so we need 2 memories for Sky for that. But on the whole, this was a successful Salon. Let's see what weather we're going to have to work with today. Rain. Oh, Grail. That'll help with something, I'm sure. And Grail and Nectar. None of our skills, but maybe we'll have something we can do with it. But, okay, I think at that point we're going to go ahead and call it a day. Thank you for joining me. If you've been enjoying what you've been watching, please leave a like or a comment down below. If you want to see more of where this story is going, then please subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow.